Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel, and today we're going to be doing something different. Now, if you've been following my channel for a while, then you'll know that I've been wanting to do more things here on my channel other than just the usual, find out a little bit of news as to what's going on in the pop culture industry and make a video where we cover what's going on and then I give you guys whatever my thoughts on it are. So I've decided that since lately news has been kind of slow. It's been drying up. We haven't really been getting any interesting news. At least not interesting to me. Interesting enough to make a video about it. I've decided to sit down and think about what other kinds of videos that I want to make on my channel. And I know I've been wanting to make more reactions. And I also realized that because I've been wanting to bring more, I guess you could say, Naruto content to my channels, especially since I decided to start covering the Boruto manga, I decided I wanted to sort of do a reaction slash discussion to videos made by some other creators that I follow who also happen to cover it. And one of those creators happens to be Swagkage. Now, Swagkage, if you don't know who he is a very, very big Naruto YouTuber. And he made this video that apparently is sort of related to the Boruto series, and you can see the title right there on the screen. It says the Naruto sequel we should have gotten, and judging from the title, he's probably going to give his thoughts as to what he at least envisioned Boruto to be, at least, or what we should have gotten, according to the title. Now, one thing that I also want to do, and I just wanted, I'm sorry if this intro is a little bit long, but I wanted to make sure I get all this out of the way because I don't want to, go into this more into the other reaction videos. So I just want to get this all out of the way as quickly as possible. The thing is, I do have some other videos from Swagkage that I do want to react and discuss here with you guys on this channel. And of course, as always, I want to hear your thoughts on the actual video or the points that Swagkage is going to make in the video, as well as some of the points that I make in response. Just let me know all that in the comments. I of course want to get you guys in on these reactions as always. So if you guys have your own video by other creators that you follow that also happen to be topics that happen to do with anime and manga, because that's what I decided to start covering on this channel, then just leave a link in the description box down below, or not in the description, but in the comments. Just leave a link to the video in the comments and I'll get to it. Although I do have something else that I just want to get out of the way. Now, this is, just so you know, this is completely optional, but I'm going to leave a link in the description box of this video, and I'll also link the actual video so you guys can go watch it for yourselves if you want to. But other than that, I will leave a link in the description box down below. Now, that will be a donation link, and that donation will specifically be to this channel. Now, the reason why I did this is because, YouTube, based on some of their actions lately, I think they've made it kind of clear that they probably have no interest, at least not anymore, of supporting independent creators. And again, if you've been following my channel, if you've been joining the live streams, I think that's been made kind of clear. Like, YouTube just, they don't care about independent content creators anymore, not anymore, especially considering some of the recent decisions that they've made. So I've decided to set up that link, and again, that is completely optional. If you yourself just want to support the channel, and again, if you can't, that is completely understandable. Just watching the video, just liking, sharing, commenting, all that does enough to help push the channel in the algorithm. But if you do choose to donate, if you leave a link to whatever video you want to be reacted to on this channel, then it will 100% guarantee that your video does get seen on this channel. Because hell, if you choose to give me your money, I'm pretty sure your hard-earned money, then the least I could do is react to a video that you recommend. Although I just to be on the safe side, don't make it a video that is kind of like, a little bit too out there. Just make sure that it's a little bit safe. So I think, yeah, I've said everything that I wanted to say. So let's go ahead and watch the actual video. And again, I'm sorry if the intro was a little bit long. I just wanted to get that all out of the way as quickly as possible. So again, I don't have to go into it as much into the next video. And also, sorry, one more thing. After I get done recording this video, I'm going to start recording the reactions to the other videos that he made, and I'll be releasing them on a schedule. Like I'll schedule them to be released in certain times. So this should come out. This video should be on the channel the day that I recorded, which is right now, and then the ones after that should get released or be available to be viewed, or either the day after or maybe or like a couple days after, in order to give this video a chance to sit with people, so it doesn't get taken over by the next video that comes out. So I think I've said everything I wanted to say. Let's go ahead and actually watch the video. Again, this is from Swagkage, the Naruto sequel we should have gotten. Let's go ahead and watch it, and of course we'll discuss the video as it goes along.
At first glance, this video may seem a bit redundant because I have like 30 plus Boruto episode reviews. I've made a couple videos about what I think of the series overall. You guys want me to leave it alone, want me to talk about something else, I get it. Just hear me out for a second. Now, given my track record, I don't blame any of you for expecting me to just get on a soapbox and start complaining, but that's not what I intend to do in this video. As a matter of fact, I think in execution, Boruto's actually pretty good. I've said in a number of my episode reviews that I like what the writers are doing with what they have, but that last bit there is where the problem lies. The writers don't really have a lot to work with here.
And that's usually... So I'm sorry to pause it, but I don't want to talk over him, but that was usually my problem when it came to Boruto, is that the way the Naruto series ended, it felt like, okay, where exactly can this story go? Like and that's been sort of my problem with the Boruto series, especially with the Boruto manga, considering where it is now. It feels like a lot of the things that happened just feel so, how do I say this? It feels so contrived, It doesn't really feel like it's like a natural progression to the story that Kishimoto started and ended. It feels like they're pulling these plots just out of thin fucking air because, we need something, right? We need something to do. And again, it's just to me, it's just kind of gotten in my way of my enjoyment of this series. There are certain things that I will admit I do kind of like, but overall, if you've watched my Boruto videos, then you'll probably know that I'm not the biggest fan of this series. But anyway, let's continue.
I'm sure everybody knows this already, but just to be safe, let me lay out a bit of context to make sure that everybody's on the same page. This is a story set a good number of years after the battle with Kaguya, which also means it's set quite a while after Naruto and Sasuke's agreement to help bring about world peace. So the writers are stuck dealing with a time period that doesn't really lend itself to tension or exciting situations. The first arc in Naruto dealt with our main character and his 3 squad mates escorting a bridge builder from the Land of Fire back to his hometown and fending off a series of assassins hired by a fucking mobster to kill this guy so that he couldn't complete a bridge that would allow his village to trade freely with other cities and villages located throughout the world in order to break said mobster's monopoly over the goods within the village. This sort of thing cannot fucking happen in a setting where world peace is a thing. It just doesn't make sense. I mean,
to that point specifically, the thing that's always bothered me about, one of the criticisms for Boruto is that, a lot of people, like I said, is that something like this can't happen in like a world of peace. And while overall I would agree, but the thing is, I feel like you could still have stories like this. Like, it's just, to me, one of my biggest issues with the Boruto series is that it's sort of following in the route of the Dragon Ball series, where each new arc has a villain that's vastly stronger than the one that came before in order to present an actual threat to our, protagonist. And I get that, but for me, it's just... like, one of my biggest problems with Dragon Ball now, and one of the things that I'm not gonna lie, I kind of liked about the Moro arc, at least at first, is that even though there's a new threat, and they did present a threat to the protagonist, but they didn't present it in a way that was, similar to what we already knew. We're just like, okay, Moro, again, I know I'm talking about Dragon Ball, but just hear me out for a second, please. When it came to Moro, one of the things that made him interesting and why he was a threat to our protagonist, Goku and Vegeta, is that he was using methods that Goku and Vegeta were not used to dealing with. He was a guy who was fighting using magic. And Goku and Vegeta are not used to dealing with magic. They're used to dealing with enemies who fight like them. And one of my biggest issues with more arc in the towards the end of the arc is that he sort of fell into that usual Dragon Ball villain where it's just, oh, I'm just big evil strong man, to where it's like he's not even utilizing the magic that made him a threat in the first place. And to me, like, when it comes to the Boruto series, I feel like they fell into that same trap where it's like we have to introduce a protagonist that's stronger than our than the two strongest shinobi, that being Naruto and Sasuke. And the thing is that you didn't have to do that to bring actual tension. Like, there are ways to have tension without resorting to, I guess you could say, in a way, devaluing Naruto and Sasuke standing in the shinobi world. Like, again, there are ways. Like, maybe you could introduce a problem that Naruto and Sasuke can't solve with just their strength alone. Like, yeah, everyone in the shinobi world knows how strong these two are, but at the same time, like, there are ways, I feel like, again, this is just me, maybe disagree with me, but I feel like there are ways they could have introduced problems that that require more than just Naruto, the fact that he has the Kyuubi's power, and Sasuke has the power of the Rinnegan. Obviously not anymore, and if that's, I'm not gonna go into that. That's ugh. I feel like there are other ways they could have gone over introducing new issues in the story over just oh, here's a new Otsutsuki, or now with Code, here's a new human possibly turning Otsutsuki, who's even stronger than a version of the previous villain. And I don't know, it's just, to me, I hate the fact that it seems like Boruto's following that trend of let's just introduce a new villain, and this one's even stronger, and it's just, I don't know. It's just, it kind of sucks to me.
They could always do what fucking Star Wars or Halo did, and just retroactively invalidate the achievements of the past main characters, but nobody really
that's
likes it when you do that.
And it's just, that's kind of the problem with the Boruto series, that it feels like with these new problems, especially with Ishiki before he, sorry, spoilers, died. To me, it just feels like everything the characters worked to accomplish in the previous series, it just feels like it's been kind of invalidated. Like, think about all the people who died in the war arc in order to stop Madara and Obito from achieving their goal, the Infinite Tsukuyomi. And it's just, it feels like everything they went through, it just feels now like it's been completely invalidated, whereas now there is, or I guess there was, a threat that's even greater than even Kaguya. And it just made it feel like everything Naruto and Sasuke accomplished and everyone else in that war just feels so meaningless and insignificant. And yeah, he brought up Star Wars, and that's basically one of the biggest problems that the sequel trilogy brought up, is that it feels like everything they accomplished in Return of the Jedi, at the end of Return of the Jedi, just feels like it's been kind of invalidated. And I know a lot of people are probably going to bring up the expanded universe. I mean, what about the expanded universe? They introduced problems, didn't they? Well, yeah, but at the end of the day, it didn't feel like what they accomplished and I don't know how they did it, but it didn't feel like the writers who wrote those stories, whether it's, the Thrawn trilogy or the Yuzong Vong War, or even later with, in Legacy of the Force, it didn't feel like it kind of invalidated what was accomplished in the original trilogy, and I guess you could include the prequel trilogy in that in some cases. Just, to me, it feels like this is just, it got rid of it, and that's what Boruto feels like, at least to me. Again, maybe you disagree with me on that, that's fine, but that's one of the reasons why I don't enjoy the Boruto series. That just...
And I'm pretty sure the writers got...
Again, I'm sorry I keep pausing, but again, I don't want to talk over him.
Got that. So because of that, the result is something that feels a lot more like a Saturday morning cartoon than an actual fucking battle shonen. And, I mean, last time this happened, people weren't really too happy about it. So no matter how good the writers are, when you have such a drastic shift in tone, and I'm even inclined to say genre as well, it's very hard to make something like this appeal to everybody watching it for the same reasons that it's its predecessor did. Making people like Boruto for the same reasons they like Naruto is practically impossible given the circumstances. Of course, I know Studio Period and Shonen Jump and Viz and everybody with any sort of financial stake in Naruto as an intellectual property wants to keep it going so that they can earn more money. So a sequel series like this was probably inevitable.
Yeah,
but, I mean, like, they didn't have to set it after Shippuden. They could have made it an anthology. Wait, hold on a second. They already fucking did this! And instead of separating it from Naruto Shippuden and making it its own thing, they just sort of sprinkled all of these anthology stories throughout the fucking main anime, and in doing so...
Yeah, and it's, sorry again, but again, like I said, I don't want to talk over him, but that was my biggest problem, and I feel like a lot of people had, a lot of the same people did not like about the Shippuden anime is that it was just sprinkled with so much filler, and it always showed up at the most inopportune times. Like, for example, what he showed here, this is Indra, in case anyone doesn't know, that's the oldest son of Haguro Motsutsuki, the Sage of Six Paths. But one of the problem is that, even though I don't get me wrong, I would have loved that they, expanded on the life of the Sage of Six Paths before he died. Well, I like that. The problem is that because it literally showed up right when Kaguya showed up. And when you would think, okay, yeah, I want to see the story, all of a sudden it just shifts to what's going on in the past. And it's just like, why is this happening now? Like, why is this happening now? And also, the filler itself, like the way it ended, like I hated the ending of what the story was, because instead of having, like, they gave Indra pretty much in case you don't know, they gave him the same Mangekyo Sharingan that Sasuke had, and then with his younger brother Ashura, they somehow had him have wood style, and not only wood style, but he uses pretty much the exact same jutsu that Hashirama used in his fight with Madara. Now, you might be saying, well, they are technically, like, Indra technically reincarnated into Sasuke, and then Ashura reincarnated into Madara. Well, yeah, that's true, but that still doesn't explain how they have the exact same abilities. It feels like, I don't know, it feels so dumb. To me, it feels like they didn't want to bother to give these two, like, their own unique abilities. And so they just decided to take abilities that were already given to other characters and just copy them. It's just, it was just kind of disappointing.
So they forcefully shoved in all of these really bloated gaps between a bunch of major plot points, and nobody was a really big fan of it. This would have killed two birds with one stone. It would have prevented Shippuden from being a filler-infested mess that you have to watch schizophrenically in order to keep yourself from ruining the pacing. And second of all, it would have given the writers a much stronger foundation for a sequel series than the one they have now.
True.
And I mean, as a bonus, it would have given it a much higher episode potential than it currently has. This is a much better idea than what they did. Even from a business standpoint, I mean, like, I'm no marketing expert, but common sense tells me that using art or like a trailer of somebody like Kakashi or Itachi to promote an upcoming arc would be much more effective than using all of these kids that nobody's...
You're telling me that people wouldn't have jumped at the chance to watch, like, an anthology series that features Itachi and Kakashi? I mean, dude, they would have been there day one, especially when it comes to Itachi. Like, if you're telling me, like, we're actually going to explore fully Itachi's life, not just, like the infamous Uchiha clan massacre, and, it's just, like, we could have actually seen his life from beginning to end. Like, dude, people would have jumped at the chance for that, and it's just, instead they, like he said, they sprinkled them into Shippuden, and it just turned people off.
Really attached to. And see, for those of you who are fans of this era of the Naruto world's history that like the characters that we've been introduced to, they still could have had arcs focused on them. They would have been able to skip around and tell whatever stories they wanted to. They could have been relegated to as few as one episode or as...
Yeah, I mean, imagine if we had arcs that, let's say, first around, because he's, the main character's son, we could have had an arc, the first arc, centered around Boruto. And, you could have had everything you wanted to have there. His feelings of inadequacy when being constantly compared to his father, who's considered by pretty much everyone in the world to be a hero. we could have explored an arc there. It could have been like 10, 15 episodes where he's sort of trying to get over his, like I said, his feelings of inadequacy and, accept that he is who he is. Like, he's more than just the Hokage's son. And even though, like, again, to me, like, I feel like one thing that could have been really, really interesting is that instead of doing what they're doing now in Boruto, to where they feel like they have to make him stronger than Naruto or surpass Naruto, and they're doing that stupid bullshit of, because he has the karma mark, now his body's like 80% Otsuki or whatever the fuck. It's just, God, that's so fucking stupid. Instead of doing that, they could have done a really interesting story where, the son could have, he, as hard as it would have been, he could have accepted that, okay, maybe he'll never be as good or as strong as his father, but he's not going to let that bother him, because he's not going to let that define who he is. And I feel like that's something that so many kids could relate to. Like, how many kids are there who have these, like, super talented parents and, feel a little inadequate because they don't exactly measure up? And they like, they probably have to end up coming to terms with the fact that, maybe I'll never be as good as my mom or my dad, or my mom or dad, whatever. But at the same time, I'm not going to let that define who I am. And I'm going to accept who I am, and I'm going to accept my limits, and I'll learn to be happy with that. And, there are people who still accept me for who I am. And it's just, like, that to me, that just seems so much more interesting than just doing the usual show and, he has to be stronger than his dad, and because of that, it's God, like, Boruto could have been so much interesting. Instead, they make this, God, it's so fucking boring and one-dimensional and just completely uninspired. It's so fucking boring. It's just not exactly boring. I guess I'm just so disappointed, because this could have been really good. It could have been really good, and instead we got this crap.
As many as like fucking 20, I don't know. There's just so much more potential for the world to be fleshed out with something like this. Granted, the quality of some of the filler has me thinking that this wouldn't have necessarily been a good anthology series, but conceptually it is better than Boruto. Now maybe I'm a little bit biased because it's actually my fucking job to talk about Naruto for a living, so obviously it's in my best interest for something like this to happen, but I mean, I don't think too many people would disagree. That's really all I have to say about the topic, so leave your thoughts in the comments below. I actually really want to get a discussion started about this. Leave any anthology stories you would have liked to see in the comments as well. And yeah, that's it. Till my next video, talk to you later. Swagkage out.
I think that's, yeah, okay, that's pretty much the end of the video. And yeah, it's just, to me, like you said, I am almost in complete agreement with him, except for the one where he, made that point of, I mean, it's something like the first arc of Naruto realistically not being able to happen in the world of Boruto. Well, I don't know if I necessarily agree with that. I think you could do that, because again, like I said, you could introduce problems that don't necessarily require, like Naruto or Sasuke's strength in order to resolve. Like, maybe you could include a problem that's, in a way, you could sort of do something like what, and I know that this is a big comparison, but you could do something to where, like, what Star Trek used to do, where you introduce a problem where there isn't really one easy answer, to where it's like you can understand both sides, and they sort of leave it up to the audience to decide as to whose side they want to be on. Again, yeah, I know that Star Trek and this is Naruto, this is a shonen series, but again, just because it's a shonen series doesn't mean you can't introduce problems that aren't, good. Anyway, yeah, so that's the end of the video, guys. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below, as always. And if you enjoyed this, and if you want to see more reactions like this, guys, remember to click on the like button, share the video, and of course, subscribe to the channel if you want more videos like this. And of course, look out for the next video that should be out, again, either the day after or a couple of days after this video gets posted on this channel. And like I said, if you have a video by another creator that you know who also talks about anime and manga, if you want me to react to it and give you guys my thoughts, just either leave the link in the description box, in the comment section down below, or if you want to guarantee your video gets 100% guarantee your video gets reacted to, then just follow the link in the description box down below, and you'll know what to do there. So thank you so much again for watching, and like I said, please look out for the next video, and also remember to stay safe and take care of yourselves as always, and join me for the next video. Bye for now.